Okay. B'siyat Maya Shabbos Parshas Korach Beis Tammuz Tavshin Lamed Daled Maimer from 1974. Hine Porach Mata Aaron. It says that during the time when there was the dispute against the Kun of Aaron, even after Korach was being, even after the punishment of Korach being swallowed up in the ground, etc., etc., still in all, there was further problems. And he needed to, they needed to prove Aaron's leadership over all the other Shvatim. So what happened was they put out the staffs, which symbolized the leadership position of every single Shevet's Nasi. They put it out in front of the Oil Moed, in front of the tent of meeting, in front of where the Eibishter came down, and suddenly Aaron's staff of all the other matos brought forth sprouted almonds. Hine Porach Mata Aaron basically Levi Goimer, and the staff of Aaron to the house of Levi blossomed by Yigmol Shkedim, and it gave forth, it was ripened the almonds. Before the Torah Parsha saying it's explained about this to the Torah of our Parsha. Aruch Yosef Sefer Mitzvahs Al Marta Machzed, and even longer and even greater length in the Tzemach Tzedek's Sefer Mitzvahs, otherwise also known as Derech Mitzisecha, Ubekuntris Umayim, and also in the Rebbe Rashab's Kuntris Umayim, it's explained the Masha Sim Damata Aaron Hoy B'Shkedim Dafke. What was the reason that of all the signs that Hashem used to indicate the correctness and the righteousness of Aaron, that he should be the Nasi, he should be the leader, was specifically the staff? Why did he use specifically his that sign, the staff, the shkedim, the almonds to ripen, etc.? What was the significance of that? He says, because almonds is the quickest to ripen from all fruits and all types of produce and grains, etc., etc. For that reason, it is called by the word shoked. The idea, the word shoked, is also used for speed and alacrity, diligence, because the fruit of that's known as shkedim, almonds, are very quick, they're very fast to ripen. Because of makal shoked gomer, where do we see this? Excuse me, where do we see this used? We see this when it comes to Yirmiyahu Hanavi describing a vision that he saw about the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, and he saw a branch, a stick of an almond tree, or an almond where it produces almonds. And it says over there that I see a makal shoked, I see an almond branch. Why? What's the purpose? Or makal shoked, why am I showing you? The Abish just telling Yirmiyahu Hanavi, why am I showing you this almond branch? Because I am being diligent and I'm going to be quick to do this, the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash that the Eibishter is foretelling to Yirmiyahu Hanavi. So we see this play on words. Makal shoked means an almond branch. It's a play off the words shkedim of shoked, that is something quick and happens very soon. So what does it have to do with the question over here about Aaron? We were out to explain over here what's going on over here with Aaron. Why was Aaron going to be or chosen as the Kohen Gadol? So we used the sign. So we had, why specifically this sign? What is, so you're telling me because a shkedim are something that ripen very quickly. Fine, it ripens very quickly. What does it have to do with Aaron? He says the idea of speed and quickness is a hint on the idea of being a kohen. Because also what the kohanim bring down is also in a way of speed. Many Mamorim, including the ones I was referring to before, the Tzemach Tzedek and the Kunsamayin and so on, it speaks about the unique properties of Birchas Kohen. What is the accomplishment? What is the purpose of the bracha of the Kohanim? What does it accomplish? The fact that the Kohanim give the bracha. So the accomplishment is that it speeds up the process. It quickens the process. Instead of it taking a long time for the hamshachas to come down from above, instead of that, it is something that takes place very, very quickly. It's something that happens in a fast manner, in a speeded up manner. That's what the bracha of the Kohanim accomplish over normal brachas or over davening and so on and so forth. So therefore, we see there is something unique that has to do with Kohanim, that it has to do with speeding along the process. This is similar to the speed and quickness with which the almond branch or the almond tree ripens. So he explains, what is the idea of speed when it comes to a bracha coming down? Why would there be a distinction? Why would brachas come down quickly or they wouldn't come down quickly? So he says, the hine yesh hamshachas shetrichim laver is kol seder ishtalshus. There's those type of hamshachas that need to come down and pass through the entire chain order of descent of every single world. The hamshachas come down, let's say, from Atzilus. So they have to go through every sphere in Atzilus and then down to the world of Bia and down the Yitzir and Asiya. And each one of those stops, if you will, causes somewhat of a delay, causes somewhat of a time consumption. Since it has to pass through many different levels. Therefore, the Mamorim explain, it's possible that there could be a delay, etc., in the manner of the Hamshach, because every single one of those levels need to contribute, need to re-examine, need to give their haskama, need to give their agreement, and all of these different things affect and impact the speed of how much it comes down. I used the term before, it's like a spiritual bureaucracy. It needs to go through this signature and that signature, and this official and that official. In Seder Ishtalshus also, it's going through every single level by level, that can delay the coming down of the Hamshach. But in when the light and the hashpah comes down from above through Aron and the Kohanim, so then what's coming down comes down very quickly without anyone delaying it whatsoever. Like there's an expression that we have this also in davening, it says ad meheira yoretz dvari, that very speedily, very quickly, it will come down. His words will rush down, will come down. To such a degree that the speed is that it comes down so quickly from above that it's exactly the way it is, the hashpacha and the hashpah, the way it is above, that's the way it immediately comes down below. The reason why it's that way, the reason why it comes down this way, because the root and the source of the hamshacha is from a level that is much chesed. There is two levels of chesed the Zohar brings down. Is chesed vi is chesed. There's a chesed of the world, meaning it's a limited chesed, a chesed of the oil misal yoinim, and then there's a rav chesed that we say in the Yudgim Sarachmim, we say Shem Shem Kel Rachmuchan, that rav chesed. Rav chesed meaning much is a superlative. It's going over the norm, beyond the regular chesed. It's not chesed of Atzilus, and definitely not chesed of the lower worlds. It's a level of chesed, the way it's in the Yudgim Sarachmim, and the level of Arechampin, and the level of Keser, beyond Seder Ishtalshus. But it's a higher level of chesed. It's beyond the chain order of descent. It's beyond the whole level of all the spheres, the normal chesed. Therefore, the way comes down such a way that nothing stands in its way, nothing can prevent it. Like, for example, a great river, that the traveling and the rushing of the water is with a lot of strength and power. It's possible for it to delay the traveling of the water, meaning the Rebbe is trying to explain what does it make a difference as far as Seder Ishtalshlus is concerned, as far as the speed of the Hamshacha coming down in Seder Ishtalshlus, which chesed it comes from. If it comes from chesed oilam, if it's coming from chesed of Atzilus, or it's coming from chesed in Arecham, in chesed in Keser, the level of Rav Chesed. So for that he explains that it depends, like you have in water. You have water that's coming in a normal flow, normal fashion. So when water comes down in a normal fashion, a normal flow, so then it will take time, and there are things that could be obstacles, and it has to sometimes work its way around. It can be blocked, etc., etc. But if the source of the water starts off with a very pounding, powerful hamshacha, so then when it comes down with such a powerful hamshacha, then nothing can stand in its way. And even if you put up a barrier and you try to block it, it'll break through the barrier, or it'll just overflow the barrier and flood the barrier and so on. Same thing, if the hamshach of chesed comes from a chesed of Seder Ishtalshlus, so then there's possible delays and it takes times, and there's different types of levels can come ahead and say maybe not, maybe yes, etc., etc. But when you're dealing with a chesed that's totally higher than Seder Ishtalshlus, the level of Rav Chesed, without any types of limitations and constrictions, so then any type of obstacles that you might put in its way will be overwhelmed, will be totally removed. Let's continue another paragraph. Hine, second paragraph on the first page. Hine, Siprazah, the Simon Mata Aaron, this sign of this story of the sign of the staff of Aaron, it came after the dispute with Koirach. Tainus Koirach saw that the complaint of Koirach was that the Levim will be on the should be on the levels of the Kohanim, like we spoke about in the previous mind. The Levim in Yanam Gvura. Levi represents the idea of Sfiras HaGvura. The Koirach Ratzam, and what Koirach wanted was Sheikir HaMshacha Tiyam Min HaGvura. Main Hamshach, what comes down from above, should be from the level of Gvura. That's what Koirach wanted. He wanted that Gvura should be primary, not Aaron, which is Chesed, should be primary. After the dispute of Koirach, so then it came about that the main thing is the Koyanim, that they are coming from the midah of Chesed. The Levim have to be those that will accompany you and will serve you. Once the dispute was over, so we realized and it was brought to the front that what has to be, what is the main thing? The main thing is the Koyanim, and the Levim are only auxiliary to the Koyanim. Now he's going to explain what that means in Avodah. What does the Avodah of Gvura represent, and what does the Avodah of Chasadim represent? Inyan Avodah Halavim K'nas Gvura Hu Inyan Arotzim U'Matal Ma'ilo. The idea of the Avodah of the Levim is the level of Gvura, as I said before, and Gvura, that is the rushing upwards towards Hashem from below to above. Just like the level of fire, which also symbolizes Gvura, is about fire, is about going from below to above. It's drawing upwards, not like water, which is Chesed, it's Kamayim Hayerdim, like water that's descending from a high place to a low place. And then he says, the root of Ava, that's in a way of Kiddush B'yesh, like a flaming fire, in a way of Aratzui. all of this type of love and passionate type of desire to go upwards and being drawn upwards, which is the avodah of Gvuras and the avodah of Levim, that is something that is associated and as a result of Bina, Moichin de Ima. In other words, the meditation of Bina is responsible for causing this flaming fire type of love that he wants to expire and go upwards, etc., etc. Like it's brought down the Zohar and the Pasuk, that the Levi will serve he and his children, but the Zohar says that the Levi will serve the level known as who. Who is him, third person. There is a level that is revealed, that's second person, you. That's something that's revealed to me. But when we talk about third person, who, him, there, also similar. That's the idea of something that is beyond, that is something that's not revealed. It's beyond Seder Ishkalshus. So the Zohar identifies that the Levi serves who? Who is the level as the who, the Atika, that the level of who, that's the level of Atik Yom, the inner level of Kesef, the Pnimius HaKesef. So what does this have to do with what we just now said? That the Levi is the level of Gvura, the Rotzi, that comes from Bina, because Bina and Atik Yom have a connection, which is Galus Atik Bina, because the revelation of Atik is in the sphere of Bina. The Inyan HaBina B'chinas Rotzuim, because also Bina is the level of rushing upwards and so on. It's passion, it's excitement, etc. Even Bina. Chachma is more calm. Chachma is this revelation. It's a lot more calmer. And in the beginning of Tanya, the Alter Rebbe says that the Ava B'Tanugim, the love of the light, that's a result of the Mayim and the level of Chachma. But Bina is also similar to the love that comes from Bina. Bina is in a way of rushing up. And now he's going to also connect it with what the special avodah of the Levim were. What type of avodah did the Levim do in the Beis HaMikdash? This is also the reason why the Levim's avodah in the Beis HaMikdash comprised of singing praises to Hashem and playing musical instruments. What does the idea of song and music indicate? So the Rebbe is going to explain song and music is related to this level of Rotz. Top of the next page, 164. Bepeh or bekli. Shira is, when we use the word shira in Hebrew, that's song that one does with our mouth. When we use the word zimra, that's referring to using instruments, playing instruments, etc. So he explains the Inyan Hashira, who Inyan the idea of song, and therefore also music in general, is about elevating and rising upwards. In other words, it's about creating the melody, the song, the music, the singing is about causing in the person a desire and a yearning and a wanting to join upwards. And he brings this from a well-known Chassidish explanation of a Maimer Chazal. Maimer called Bali Hashir, Yoitzim Bashir, V'Nichnasim Bashir. It says the simple meaning is over there. It's talking about halachas of Shabbos, of what type of animals can go out wearing certain types of items, ribbons, etc. Here he's talking about, Chassidus explains that all those masters of song go out with song. Go out means they're going out of themselves, that with their song, they leave their present state and they rise upwards and they become elevated and so on. So that's the idea. That's the idea that shir, the Chassidus explains shir doesn't mean like over there in the Mishnah it means a ribbon, but shir means song, and the song is an idea of yoitzin b'shir. It's the elevation and the rising up and the level of rotzi and the rushing upwards. So that is the avoid of the Levim. The Inyan HaKoyanim, the idea of the Koyanim is Inyan HaShuva Amshachim Al-Mailu Lamata. It's the idea of the return, the coming down, the drawing down from above to below. Just the opposite direction than the Levim. We said the Koyanim earlier is about bringing the brachas down to come down, and not just come down, but come down quickly. Until the Hamshacha is in a total rush without any type of delay whatsoever. That is what came over here about the Chiddush. That what took place over here. After the dispute of Koirach, that Koirach wanted to make the Avodah of Levim the main thing. The Koirach wanted it to be going from below to above, the level of Gvura, the level of Rotzi, the level of that drawing upward. Oasim and the Mata Aaron, Aaron, it came the sign of the staff of Aaron, that Aaron is what's primary. The Ikiru Amshocha b'Mehirus, that the main thing is bring this down in a quick way, in a fast way. So that is the conclusion and the end to the entire dispute against Aaron. The Kohen, the Levium, Koirach wanted to say that the main thing should be the Rotzi from above. Came Aaron, placed the staff in front of the Beis HaMikdash, and in front of the oil moed, and it blossomed, the almond blossoms, and it showed that no, it's not about the going up, it's about the coming down, and not just coming down, but coming down full force and the full power in the most strongest way possible. Let's learn one more paragraph before opening up to questions. So the Rebbe is now going to expand this. As usual, the Rebbe doesn't want to just apply this to Aaron and Koirach or just Kohen and Levim, but the Rebbe wants to show how this is applicable in the avodah of all Yid. Hine kol Yisrael nikru b'shem mamleches koyanim. First of all Yidden are called a kingdom of Koyanim, which means all of us has this level of Aaron HaKohen's avodah, the Hamshacha that goes Mamayla Lamata, the Shuv, and that should come down quickly, and so on. Another reason why all Yidden have it is because Aaron is responsible for lighting us up. Gam avodas Aaron yilifel b'chol Yisrael. Also, the avodah of Aaron is to affect all Yidden. Like it's explained in the topic and the idea that when you will raise up the candles, Aaron milas kol shivas haneres. The Aaron raises up and kindles all the 7 candles, meaning shem kol shivas asugim sheba'am Yisrael. That these are all the 7 types that there are to be found in the Am Yisrael, like we've had many, many different times, brought down many different Mamorim. So Aaron is not just, you can't just divide what Aaron's about. Aaron has one thing that he brings down the Amshachas quickly from above to below. And he has another unrelated thing. Guess what? Not only does it bring down the Amshachas quickly for Klal Yisrael, he also kindles Klal Yisrael. He also lights up all 7 different types of Neshams of Klal Yisrael. It's not that way. Rather, if you're saying that Aaron's avodah, his personal avodah, is about the shuv, the drawing down quickly from above, and he's also about kindling Klal Yisrael, it must be that in the kindling Klal Yisrael and elevating all the different types of Yidden, he shares with them of his avodah as well. He imparts upon them also this level of drawing down the Amshachas from above. This is what the Rebbe concludes. Move on. This is understood concerning the avodah of every single Yid. That is avodah has to be in such a way that very quickly his words will rush. What does this mean for us? This means that we do our avodah in its full force, like we said before. When does the Hamshacha come down without delay? When it originates with a full power. The same thing in our avodah. How do we do our avodah in such a way that there's no delays and there's no things coming and standing in its way and so on? When it originated in a full force and power and energy. We do not take into consideration any things that are blocking and concealments and coverings. Like the well-known phrase and statement of the Frierdiker Rebbe, when you go out to war, you right away go out to war with a victory march. What's the logic? A victory march should be after the person has been victorious, then they'll return with a victory march. Why are they going out to war already with a victory march? because that itself, that energy, that attitude, that they are going out with a passion and an excitement, and they know that they're already going to defeat the enemy and be victorious, that itself, then they're assured with a victory. The same thing the Rebbe is saying over here, that they're using the avodah of Aaron for each and every Yid, that Aaron imparts his type of approach and his view in the avodah, and every single Yid is in such a type of way that we are able to apply this and go out initially with a full force of the energy so that we are assured of the victory at the end. Any questions?